Is a dialogic approach always the right approach? This is the question that I am using to contain the category of responses that sound something like dialogic sounds like it would take forever. Or sometimes people just need to be told what to do. It's called leadership, right? So, or sometimes you just have to make a decision. That's leadership. These kinds of responses, I'm going to name them as: is dialogic always the right approach? What is the answer? Absolutely not. Of course not. Um, Two types of change we're going to be thinking about: technical and adaptive. An aside, are there really just two types? No. There's all this continuum. They always mix and match. They always do all the things, but it's helpful to think of them separately, to contrast them. That's what helps us understand what they are, right? So that's how we're going to talk about it today. Two types. Let's start with the first: technical. Technical change is what we might call something that we could approach with a diagnostic lens, where we could say, let me see what the problem is, and I can offer a solution. I can diagnose this and give you a solution. The problem is known, it's understood. The solution is known, it's understood. Uh, it might even be clear. And when I say known and understood, it's by some kind of expert somewhere, right? The problem is known and understood. The expert's job is to give you that knowledge. These are frequently challenges about information sharing. And what we need is some kind of authority to guide the learning, the implementation of the solution. It can be complex. It's not necessarily simple, but like I said, the process is known. Think open heart surgery, right? The way that a faulty valve is replaced is known, not by me, but by someone, right? Replacing that valve, that's a technical or diagnostic challenge that's needed. An expert knows how to fix it. I tell you the problems, you tell me the solution. You can help me make that happen. There's a known structure that currently exists to get this done. Examples of this. Think about the times that you are looking for a consultant or a trainer to teach a skill that you don't yet have. You know how to do X, Y, don't. Can you please teach me exactly what to do in this situation, right? Or when we're looking for a leader, that is directive, telling us what to do. They come in with an authority. Please tell me what to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it. Guide me in this way. That's a technical kind of change. Think about expert-based information sharing. It could be fact-based. What is the state of our financials? You tell me the state of our financials, that's technical information. The proper sequence of events, or how do you actually use something? How do I use our CRM? How do I use our information management system? Other times that you would use a technical or a diagnostic approach: if there is a safety critical situation, we need an immediate decision, there's a clear right or wrong response. Technical, diagnostic approach works great. When there's technology implementation, frequently this is the approach that's used. When, like I said, there's a new skill that needs to be learned, a knowledge-based new skill, sometimes that can include a mindset about that skill. For instance, learning marketing, right? Maybe you're learning that marketing is about centering your customer, not yourself. That's a new mindset that is new to the learner, but not to the expert. It's known by some kind of expert. And leadership through them is often directive. Leadership through that challenge, through that change, is often directive. Someone telling what's going to happen. It's authority based, right? Someone has the authority and it's sharing it with others. This is technical change we approach diagnostically. Second category, we might call it adaptive change. And this requires learning on the part of everybody, learning about what the challenge actually is, about what a solution might be. And leadership through them is frequently more crowd-oriented, crowd-based, including who is impacted, who has a perspective, who is invested in this. The expert that comes in here is helping through the process of involving everyone and moving forward, as opposed to, I have the answer for you. So these scenarios are when it's helpful, valuable, to use a more dialogic approach, something that you can co-create. When might this happen? It could be when our circumstances or our context have changed enough that our established structures don't fit anymore. How we run our business won't continue to work. How we have run our business won't continue to work in our new reality. For example, organizations impacted by funding shifts are facing these kinds of questions right now. Regulations, if you're adding or subtracting regulations, industry-wide regulations, and your organization has to shift for that, that could be something that you want to use a dialogic approach for. How do we do this? When raw materials are costing more than they used to, but market prices staying the same, how do we stay a profitable, effective business. This might be something that you don't know the answer to yet. How do we do that? It could also be that that you would want to use a dialogic approach when there are multiple groups or roles necessary to address a challenge, when there's some kind of cross functionality or multiple organizations involved in this. That's when you might want to use a dialogic approach. It could also be when how we talk about the problem we're facing is shaping the problem. Let me give you an example. Sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where we are thinking to ourselves, man, people just need to get on board. People just need to get on board, right? How I'm phrasing that affects how I see the problem. When I say people need to get on board, the responsibility lies with them. It's their issue. If I change the language there, um, our process is not encouraging people to get on board. I just shifted the responsibility. It's now ours, right? So the language is affecting how I'm seeing the problem. Dialogic is most useful when the problem is unknown, not just by us, but by experts out there. The solution is not there. The problem is not clearly known by others. We have to figure it out. When looking at our language that interprets the problem, affects how we look for solutions. When we need to involve more people in the process. When we're in a spot where the start and stop of a change is not clear cut. When we can't just say it's going to start on this date. It seems to be more of an evolving, ongoing, ever changing kind of process. And finally, when the solution we want expert help on is approach based instead of task or step based. Dialogic is less appropriate in technical situations where the expert help you want is to identify the problem or the solution, right? When those things are known, then you want a more technical or diagnostic solution. Places those things might be known: budgets, compliance, regulatory training, legal issues, objective information dissemination, right? Or where a specific skill solves a problem. That's a technical problem. Hopefully that is helpful to distinguish when a dialogic approach is useful. I use the words technical and adaptive. This book, The Practice of Adaptive Change by Ronald Heifetz, Alexander Grashow, and Marty Linsky, is a really great resource for technical versus adaptive change.